Hello there, fellow modelers, maybe glass file enthusiasts. As you can see, I've put together an assortment of different glass files for you, but not just any old files. These are from companies that have geared their files towards the modeling community. With that, I didn't know exactly what I was getting with some of these, which is partly why I want to do this video, maybe clear up any confusion, or you're just not sure the way they labeled their files, what you might be getting yourself. I know I was definitely confused. Well, I'm just going to jump right into it and start with the first set here. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, maybe Ansai. This was purchased on Amazon, these three files together as a set. I got these for 13 bucks, shipping included. I didn't look around and see if I could find them at any other websites, but they are nice files. As you can see, they are basically from this side the same file with different shapes. That continues on the other side as well. You're basically getting the same file 3 times over with different shapes here. I don't know if something like this would work for you better than say that one in a tight spot. If you do think that's the case, then maybe spending the 13 bucks on the 3 files would be worth it to you. I know for me that having the same file 3 times isn't much use. They are very nice files and they work extremely well. You can see though that all 3 do contain the same grit pattern. It might not be so easy to see from here, but it is a line pattern and not those nano dots you find with a lot of the nail buffers. So these are going to remove a lot more plastic than some of the ones just designated for the nails. If you're looking to save some money, obviously 13 bucks is a lot, but you are spending it to get the same 3 files over. Would have been nice maybe if they decided to extend one of the grit patterns all the way across the handle, just so you could hold it and maybe get a better motion on it. Very nice files, they work really well. I've still been picking them up to use them. I like them. They remove a good amount of plastic, leave a great little shine. Just for the 13 bucks, again, you'd be happy with them. But you could spread that money out, especially with something like the Dspiae files. I was able to purchase these individually. I know you can get them on Amazon for a little bit more money, but you do get the free shipping. I purchased it from a separate website. I got this one for $3.99, $4.99, and $7.99 here. With these, you are getting the different size files. This first one, you'll find the pattern does go all the way across with no grip. I really like that. It does allow you to really get a motion going and start removing some plastic there. This is the MSF13. Here we have the, let me just get it right here, the SF15. You can see this one's got a little bit of a handle here for you to hold on to. That might be more your style, where for me, something like this, I can still hold the edge with the grit on it and do the same motion, as well as being able to do this as well. And then lastly, this large file, this is the SF20. This was certainly a surprise when it came in the mail. I was not expecting a file this large and wasn't really sure what to think about it. Didn't think it would really be, useful to me, and that was so big. But having, done a few kits with all these files now, I did find myself reaching for this one quite a bit. Surprisingly, just because, well, it is nice and easy to hold. You're gonna get the ability to find that edge, that flat edge on the piece real nicely. Being as big as it is, you can certainly take longer strokes, start removing a lot of plastic there. I thought this Dspiae files were more of a system with different grits, especially the way they label one of them as having a 10,000 to 12,000. And another one, I believe the specs are a little bit different. That is certainly confusing. Now, with a 10,000 grit file, you are leaving a mirror finish, which is what these do. All of these do that. The finish is phenomenal no matter what of the files you're grabbing, but it doesn't remove plastic like a 10,000 grit file. This moves plastic more between the 6 and 800 grit range, which was confusing to me at first. You will notice, if I can zoom in here, that these files as well do have all the same grit pattern on it. Little difficult to see, but these are straight line files compared to the nano dots, so they do remove a good amount of plastic. Work very nicely. Again, really been enjoying this one. You know, with all the small pieces we're always working with, it is nice to just grab something larger, not have to be so dainty with it. Really like these as well. Next, moving on to the Infini files. I purchased some cheaper files from Amazon just to kind of see what was out there on the lower end spectrum from the nail buffing community. I know we all steal tools from them. This was the large set that I purchased first and absolutely fell in love with these, which set me on my quest for the other ones here. I really enjoyed these. The medium file here is by far my favorite. Definitely got a little bit of different pattern from the other ones, but removes a good amount of plastic when you're going through it. This thing just takes nubs down, but yet it's not really so much a system where you have to go from the medium to the fine and then to the super fine to get the finish you're looking for. You can still go right from the medium into a buffing block and have that piece turn out looking fantastic. Next, I saw that they had the miniature ones here, or the small size files, and just had to have them, and I'm certainly not disappointed. These are certainly on the more expensive side. These were purchased on Amazon for 35 bucks each set, so that's $70 total in for the 6 files here, or 10 bucks a file. If you want to purchase them from, I believe you can get them from Micromark website, and they're a little bit cheaper, but it doesn't include shipping from what I saw. So you're still probably pretty close to that $70 mark, but these files are amazing. I've just fallen in love with the smaller medium file. I use it for everything. I'm constantly grabbing for it. It's just a blast to use, especially on cylindrical pieces for some reason. I find, you know, any glass file, if you're not paying attention, you can cut into the plastic, leave lines, but this one really does a great job all around. I often find myself moving to the fine one just to do touch-up work. It does a great job of removing a large amount of plastic. It leaves a fantastic finish. Not much cleanup. Always buffs out nice. I honestly don't find myself using the superfine one from this one or the larger files as much, just because when I do make mistakes, it tends to be with these ones for some reason, and I often mar my pieces up. Nothing you can't fix, but I do notice I tend to scratch my pieces more often with these superfine grits here, and I'm not sure why. With the edges, just easier to cut in, but I've really enjoyed these. These are fantastic files. If you purchased them, I'm sure you absolutely love them. But with none of these, it's a one-stop shop. I still have to use buffing blocks, to sand, things out, to get that final finish, as well as with some of the smaller, tighter areas. I still have to go back to stick sanding. Unfortunately, still going through, the lower grits, working up to the higher to get it nicely finished out with no scratches. Lastly, you have your Gunprimer razor files. These are the most expensive. If you're looking at just by the file, these cost more, but you are getting 3 of them, where these are 25 to 30 bucks a piece for each one, which is a lot of money. With that said though, you really could get away with just purchasing one of these and be very happy and up your nub removal game by quite a bit. For the 25 bucks though, you're getting more than just, say, this skinnier file compared to something over here. If you are thinking about purchasing the razor, these have certainly impressed me for one major reason, is that these have not a different pattern, but the style in which they did it is different from all the other ones. And I want to show you that here. The big difference with these is that when they do the etching, they don't bring the grit all the way out to the edge. So what does that mean? That means when you are in a tight spot or on a piece where the nub is in the corner and you might possibly, hit the side of the other piece, I don't have to worry about scratching it as much. I'm not saying it can't be done. I've certainly screwed up pieces not paying attention with both the 1.5 here as well as the larger razor as well. I find more mistakes with this one, not paying attention just because it's larger. I'll start going sideways and instead of back and forth. But I've really enjoyed these. I would certainly get them again. And just to show you here what I was talking about, just want to show you a couple pieces. And clip off a runner. And give you an idea of what I'm talking about as far as saving your pieces. To me, the peace of mind I get, not having to worry about damaging a piece when I go into a corner, if the nub was here on the inside and I was worried about this part right here being scratched up, these do a great job of preventing the damage. Just to show you what I'm talking about here, if you file flat, not too much a big deal. You can kind of see where it buffed out. But if I'm not paying attention and have my file off to the side and just one quick little mark, you're gonna get damage. I mean, that's actually cutting into it. Let's see if I can get a little bit better close up here. So that's the Ansai. This is the Dspiae. Nice little mark there. Let's go over to these Infini files. Nice little gouge out of that one. Let's get a fresh spot for the razor. Turn it to the side. I can't even get to catch. So this to me is an amazing feature, just to give me that peace of mind working on, those corner pieces. I don't have to worry about scratching and damaging the piece I'm working on. I really, really enjoy that. As much as I do love these other files, that is their step back on that, is you have to pay a little bit more attention. If the piece also happens to be bigger than the file, say something like this, I wouldn't use the small file on this because I could still scratch it even though I'm holding it completely flat, it could still scratch up. So you're gonna wanna get the file that's larger so you can completely cover the piece and not have to worry about damaging it. You don't have to do that with these. I would feel just as comfortable using the smaller one here across this larger piece as I would this one, and not have to worry about, you know, marring the piece up. Well, that's really about it. Oh wait, you know, we did the glass files, but I did purchase something that you might be interested in. This is the Dspiae Leviathan, by far the most expensive of all the files, including the razors here. This was 40 bucks. I wasn't sure what to think about it when I got it. It might be my new favorite file though. This thing just rips through plastic. As you can see, the grit goes all the way to the edge, so you can saw through. This is a carbon ceramic file. If you thought those marks were bad on this thing, you could literally almost cut all the way through the piece there with just a few strokes. But that also means when you need to remove a good amount of material, this thing will do it. I've mostly been using it to when I snap pieces together. This isn't really a great example, but if I have pieces snapping together and I need them to be flat and maybe one side sticking up a little bit more than the other, this is going to level it out. Also, with all the glass files, it's sometimes a little difficult to see where the material you're removing is being taken from because it leaves such a shiny finish, really buffs it out, where this leaves a matte finish that you'd typically be used to with your other sanding sticks and blocks. So I can kind of go over this and maybe just see what areas are still shiny, and I'll know where I need to focus my attention on. I really enjoy that. Levels the pieces, does a fantastic job. Really surprised by this. I've never used metal files before. I know it says carbon ceramic, but maybe there's other ones out there just as good as this. But this is a phenomenal file as well. If you're looking for one to remove a good amount of material. For a while I was just using a standard nail file. Found it here. I'm sure everyone's seen one of these before. This is what I was using to do the deep buffs, but that as well as sanding blocks. These all been replaced pretty much by this. If you're interested in it, highly recommend it. Absolutely love the razors. Again, these things offer amazing peace of mind, not having to worry about, you know, damaging your piece. The Infini files, I still really love them. I pick them up all the time. I would say it's probably my go-to. I use these, you know, a lot of times to finish up, but I love reaching for these, and especially this one. I don't know why. Just leaves a great finish, tears through the plastic. Yeah, I would highly recommend these as well. If you're on a little bit more budget, you know, you can piece together a few things. You can maybe grab one of the Dspiae files here. I like this one, the fact that it goes all the way across the piece. Here, just to go over some grits real quick, they label this as between 220 and 400. I'd say it's pretty accurate from the way it removes plastic, but again, you can go right from this file directly to a sanding block to buffing and finish it right up, and it'll look fantastic. But there you go. Just wanted to give you a little information on these if you're interested in picking them up. All right.